I want to start by thanking, well, start and end within 5 minutes. I want to thank Patrick Nevin, who pushed this idea and decided that the decade couldn't go past without reflecting on the state and how it had served travellers. So could we thank Patrick, please, as the instigator. We both wanted to thank the University of Galway, Mary Harris, John Cunningham, Owen Ward and Sarah Ann Buckley, who decided to get behind our idea and offer all of the machinery of the university to support this conference. And I want to include the support team, Michelle, Filippo, and I know there are individuals that I didn't. And Anna, thank you. I want to thank all the chairs and panellists, especially those who travelled far to get here, who brought their papers and their expertise, and all of you who attended, who brought your expertise and brought really rich discussion and conversation throughout the last 2 days. There are various government departments who sponsored the conference who need to be acknowledged. But before we go, can we take a few minutes to acknowledge and recognise the impact that the last 2 days has had, may have had on us all emotionally. I know certainly there were times when I was completely overwhelmed listening to some of the stories. And so I would like to invite Dr. Rohini Banerjee to guide us through a few minutes of reflection to allow us to kind of close out and help us settle ourselves internally before we leave today.
Thank you so much. It's just so much to learn and grow from what we experienced these last 2 days. I come to you from Canada, from the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. It's been emotional. There's only so many macaroons I could eat. So I invite you to close your eyes. And if you're able to stand, if you're not, if you'd rather sit, that's fine as well. We don't need to be resilient. We can be soft. We can be malleable. We can let the body relax. Your eyelids are just grazing. They're so light. Your lids are so soft. Ground your feet. Try and feel the feet on Mother Earth, on this Indigenous land. Some of us have lumps in our throat. Feel it. I invite you to be curious about where that lump is in your throat. What made it show up? Was it anger? Was it guilt? Was it sadness? Was it fear? Was it solidarity? Was it fatigue? Was it pride? Was it nervousness? Breathe into that lump in your throat. How are your shoulders and your heart, your forehead and your jaw, your body, your full entire body on this Indigenous land? Give it air Give it a word. Whisper that word. Let that word fill your mind and your heart. My word is revelation. I ask all of you to acknowledge what we've experienced today in ways that may have penetrated your bodies and your hearts and minds, and perhaps that lump in your throat. Find an act of joy and kindness to yourself first, and then share that joy with someone else. Perhaps it means a thank you, or a text, or a phone call, or a nice cup of tea, or a pint, I think is what we do here in Ireland. Think about what you will do today, what you will be today after these 2 days. I'll ask everybody, if you're able, to keep your eyes closed. Again, your eyelids are just gently closed. And rub your hands together if you're able, and create that warmth between your hands. Place those warmed hands onto your belly of fire. And collectively, together, as people on Indigenous land, lift your eyelids slowly and give your neighbor a wink, wherever that might be. Take care and namaskar. Thank you.
It was very hard to follow that, but anyways, I'll thank you. I nearly need a pillow after that. I suppose I'm standing here, as a staff member and one of the steering group committee, and as a traveller man alongside Patrick. And I remember when Patrick reached out and Elaine reached out to the group, and I was contacted to come on board. I actually have to say I never really thought much about reflecting back on the 100 years of Travellers in the Irish state. And not that I never thought about looking back, I just never thought about it in that context. For us as travellers, we're living with all these issues. It's part of our existence, and we don't know any other way. But I think having conversations with Patrick and Elaine and bringing that to the forefront and contextualising that and putting it into that for us really framed it for us. And I remember one thing Patrick said was, Owen, when we look back now, we have to look back, critically look back and analyse it. And I definitely think, Patrick, the last 2 days we've achieved that. So well done on that. And I also think as well that what came through was that we're all aware of the issues, and it's very difficult, I suppose a week wouldn't have covered all the different topics. Like Mary highlighted another topic down there, and I'm sure it is a very important topic that should be looked into too. But I think that the topics that we did look back on did give a fair flavour and a fair idea of the main issues that are continuously impacting the community, and also but what really stood for me out of all of this, because Patrick, we're as travellers, we have these conversations already and we're aware of all this, is that the resilience of the community, the pride of the community, and the very importance that we have on our allies and the important role that they play. So I'm not going to say much. I'm not going to go much further, but I do want to say as well one more thing from Megs Casey. She opened up this conference, and I spoke to her this morning about this, and she highlighted the ongoing pandemic that's going on within our community is mental health and the suicide rates. So as my final words, and I want to thank everybody, Elaine has thanked everybody, but I also want to remember all those travellers who have unfortunately lost their lives through suicide. So thank you very much.
So, as Owen said, how do I follow that? But anyway, I won't try. In fact, we've been through a hectic and emotional few days. I've been in touch with a lot of people by email, and it was a pleasure to meet them in person. And unfortunately, because of the nature of running something or helping to run something like this. It's been a cursory few words. So we can, I suppose, continue the conversations and get to know one another better, and that there will be legacy, I hope, from the conference. I have an apology here. You were promised a reception in the programme. The reception, I'm afraid, is not part of the plans at this stage. So anyway, but if people do want to relax and have a chat, there's a suggestion that we could meet in town, or some of us, at Gaeltacht for a half an hour or something like that, for a coffee or something, or maybe even tea. So we might see some of you there. Thanks, everybody, for the event.